pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Lace, Miller, McGrath, Burke,
Here.
Heller, Owen, here, Sullivan.
Here. Okay, so we will start with 207's best. And Sean.
My 207's best is actually coming down the hallway away from punt practice. I was wondering maybe if we could punt to...
We can go to Mike.
Sure. Sorry. That's okay.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm pleased to introduce to all of you Ms. Brandy Rubin. Have some. Brandy is our nominee, our selection for 207's Best in the area of improved performance. And if I kind of take a look at a snapshot in terms of some things she's done, she's an active member of Amnesty International, DECA, she's been an award-winning student there. This year she serves as president of Demonocracy and the mock trial team. She's been a member of our nationally recognized debate team. She's also been a member of Gifted Lyceum. So those are the kinds of things that a lot of times we hear about at 207's Best, but you think, well, what's that about in terms of improved performance? Well, if you kind of went back and you did a scan of a 4-year transcript, you'd see that Brandy has consistently been enrolled in our very most challenging courses in terms of being accelerated in AP classes. But you'd also see in her first 2, particularly 3 years at East, not a real stellar GPA. And then if you kind of fast forward and you take a look here, this senior year, see that right before winter break when we were making these decisions, she's currently maintaining 4.0 GPA this year. And has had some individuals who very specifically, advocated and said, this is a pretty special young lady. This year, Susie Caliendo is a counselor who replaced John Tyler when he retired. So Susie sort of inherited Brandy as one of her advisees. She hadn't had a chance to know the students, so she kind of went through the file before they met the first time and noticed a few things. And when she sat down, she said that she was immediately impressed with her strong communication skills, reflective nature, and interest in her future. I think Brandy has, by all accounts, always been pretty frank about some pretty challenging personal circumstances when she was a little bit younger. And despite that, it had some effect on attendance and some of those sorts of things, and yet she did never give up. There was never an instance of dropping a class or stepping down to regular level or a little easier class. She's always been really very much about the challenge, and I think has consistently been recognized by teachers as somebody who has an awful lot of potential and ability. I think, I'm getting into a lot of individual detail there. Jen Conlow is another of her teachers, and I do want to read a little bit about what Jen said, because I think it encapsulates the essence of Brandy. So I'm very happy to recommend Brandy Rubin to you. I've had her in class as a student in 2 classes, Law and American Society when she was only a sophomore, and AP US and Comparative Government this year. Brandy's a remarkable person. She's very bright and engaged. As a member of my AP US Comparative Government class this year, she's a standout. She always has thoughtful questions and can relate to current context. In addition to thinking ahead and being prepared, she's enthusiastic. As president of Demonocracy and of mock trial, she's willing to accept and demonstrate leadership. She brings new members to the groups and is one of the first to attend events. She prepares and sends copies of agendas in advance for my opinion. That's a first for me. She also demonstrates good leadership and her ability to work out compromises. Brandy's a person I'd want on my team. I think we all agree she's academically insightful, she's industrious, engaging student. She's motivated to move forward into her next level of academic challenge. She's demonstrated her ability to withstand the battles of a life situation that chose her rather than the other way around. It's because of this resilience, tenacity, strength, and the academic success this year that we recognize Brandy Rubin as Maine East recipient for 207's Best. On behalf of the faculty and staff, I'm very pleased to offer a warm congratulations to Brandy. Nice job. Would you like to introduce your guest? guests here?
Well, this is my mother. This is my cousin David. This is my stepfather Mark, and this is my mom's friend Kim.
Great. And what are your plans next year?
Well, I've already been accepted to Loris College in Dubuque, Iowa. I got a pretty decent scholarship to go there. I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple of schools that are just basically waiting for my first semester grades.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We have a couple of awards for you. This is an awesome paperwork. This is my favorite award because it's for the student who's shown most improvement, and that is maybe the best thing going. So keep that up, okay? Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down line. Audrey, you ready? Oh, Sean. Okay.
Present Megan Melita, who's in the back there. So stand up, Megan. It is 207's best for Maine South. I'm about to read some things you'll wonder, well, how did she end up most improved student? Megan is incredibly involved here at Maine South. Loves dance. She's a member of the Hawkettes, as Coach Graney just snuck in the back door there. She's a Hawk Pride leader, a PE leader, and is in advanced placement, U.S. government, and advanced placement environmental science. So in other words, she is one of our typical high-achieving students at Maine South. But one of the things I learned about Megan was that she actually has a learning disability. I read her, one of the things she wrote as part of her college essay, and I'm going to share it because Megan, I was moved by this when I read it. I would sit back in my chair, ducking for my teacher's view, praying for my name not to be called. When I would hear my name, I would start to sweat, shake, and almost cry. I knew I couldn't read. And after hearing when I spoke out loud, the sounds coming out of my mouth, I realized that the class knew too. Finding out I was dyslexic was no easy task. I didn't understand it at first. All my friends could read and they made it look so easy. Why was it so hard for me? I was always the resource kid, but I was determined to show everyone that I was just as smart as they were. It was even more difficult once I entered high school, where I tested into some lower level classes. I hated it. I assured myself I would be in advanced placement classes by my senior year. Megan went on to say, for me, dyslexia was not a setback, not a disadvantage, but a gift. It taught me to be the hard worker I am today. It's important to me because it made me who I am today, a hardworking woman who never lets people tell her she cannot accomplish her goals. I couldn't be prouder of that statement and the work that you've put in at Maine South, and your teachers feel the same way. The comments about Megan, she was an outstanding student, worked hard, asked questions, advocated for herself. She was like a sponge, willing to learn everything I threw her way. Megan's very self-motivated, put a great deal of value in doing well in school. Whether or not they chose to admit it, this is the thing to be proud of most, I think. She was the student that the others in class aspired to be. So I don't know if you thought that early on, but know that your teachers noticed that you were a real role model. And that's the terms that come up with Megan. Positive attitude, genuine, integrity, wonderful personality, friendly, upbeat, funny, sincere, the kind of person that you want to hang out with. These are all from your teachers. Unpretentious, strong, positive role model for other students. Megan's academic success in the face of setbacks not only speaks to her intelligence but her work ethic. By the end of the meeting that I had with Megan the first time, I actually had to stop and say, "You made my day." I had a fantastic conversation with her and was so impressed and found her to be just a wonderful, self-possessed, self-reflective, and mature young woman. Megan, we're proud of you and your accomplishments, and we're excited to see what your future brings. I'll give you Megan Melita. Megan, who's with you tonight?
I have my mom, Ellie, my dad, Ralph, and my sister, Daniela, and one of my favorite physics teachers, Mr. Egan. Jackie Grady, my Hawkette coach, my friend Jama, my friend Melissa, who were my captains as I was a sophomore. They were seniors.
Nice. And what are some of your plans? What do you think you're going to be doing next year?
Well, I've been accepted into DePaul, Carthage, Roosevelt University, and U of I down in Champaign. I want to do some sort of social work or psychology, leading into some sort of therapy, counseling, helping kids.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Megan, coming up, we got a couple awards for you.
Congratulations, this is really great work. Keep it up, good luck in college too.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you. Scholarship at the University of Brent and good rewards, so keep working, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
You want to go again?
We'll go ahead with the meeting, and what you do is you let us know she arrives. Megan and Brandy, I'm going to ask you to step out into the hall with Mr. Beery, who's going to raise his hand for you. There he is. And the principals are going to join you. We're going to take some pictures. And you're all welcome to stay here for the meeting. Otherwise, if you'd like to escape, this is your opportunity. Okay. Let's continue with communications. Are there any public comments to come before the board? Hearing none. Updates from board members?
Just make a note of the EdRed legislative dinner. I sent out an email to board members a bit ago. I encourage attendance of that. It's a good program each year. And a couple of our state senators representing District 207 will be participating on the panel. It is January 28th, Monday.
Okay. And report from the Finance Committee, December 5th.
A couple of notes on the Finance Committee, and I actually have a request regarding the minutes in terms of the correction too. It was reflected accurately in the board meeting minutes, but at the Finance Committee I had also requested, and I think Ed may recall this, and Eldon, that I requested that they begin the planning process for a 0% levy increase for the next 3 years and how that might impact the school district, and Mary's nodding. But that was not reflected at all in the minutes, so Jenny, maybe if you could correct that. Also, the PTAB report that's referenced in the minutes is included in the board packet, so you can kind of see the effectiveness of that program. It's been run through District 207 for some time now. I don't know if Eldon or Ed, do you have anything to add to those items?
Mary, monthly status of finances.
In your board packet is the November financial information. The good news for November is that we finally received our 2012 payments from the state. The bad news is now the state is $3 million behind in their 2013 payments to us. But aside from the state revenue, our revenues are tracking at their budgeted amounts. Looking at the expenditure side, November represents 41.6% of the year completed. The debt service fund seems a little higher than that, but we had just made our November principal payments, so that's why that percentage is a little high. And the tort fund will be over because of workers' compensation and our legal bills. All the other funds are tracking within their budgeted expenditure amounts. Are there any questions on the November financial statements? Okay, the next item is the budget assumptions for the 2013-2014 budget. We will begin our budget preparation in January this month, so we're anticipating having a deficit, a budgeted deficit no greater than $2 million, plus if any changes in state funding. Pension reform has been a hot topic this week, and going forward, we're not sure if that will include a cost shift to the school districts. We're not sure what they're gonna do with the general state aid poverty grant and the alternate method. Those are the three risk exposure areas. I would anticipate that we may lose $1 million within those three areas, so that would increase our budgeted deficit to $3 million. But we have no idea, we cannot foresee the future because the state's not telling us where we're gonna go.
Okay.
Okay?
PTAP?
PTAP, the third item is a summary of our outstanding PTAP items. We had $2.4 million from the years 2004 through 2010 of outstanding items. We have settled $2.4 million in that same time period of refunds, and we've settled them for $469,000, preserving revenue of about $1.7 million. And we do this by working with Franzik and Radliff this time, and looking at the evidence, submitting appraisals when warranted. Our costs per year between legal fees and appraisals are $20,000 to $30,000, and our revenue preserved in a fully run-out year is over $300,000. So we view this as a very effective return on our investment. And I've given you the detailed properties that are outstanding for each year.
Any questions on PTAP? Hearing none, instructional services, Barb?
There's nothing.
Now, we were looking at educational committee meetings.
Yes,
We
right.
did not schedule one for tonight, so when are the next ones scheduled?
They'll front each of the next 3-month board meetings.
Okay.
So we'll start at, Jimmy's the time, 4:30 or 5, did you say? 5? Is the start time?
Okay, we'll get them all.
And the first one up is going to be east, and then it'll be west, and then, no, I have it backwards now. It's south, west, east. And at those meetings, we will dive into their building, school improvement planning, processes, interventions. We'll weave in some of the data, particularly some of the Explore data too, that you'll be getting on a Friday notes report that's for the class of 2016 and so forth. So what we'll try to do is send out some of the materials ahead of time so that you can come armed with some questions. Those of you who are going to come to the head committee meeting, and we'll make that a profitable session focused on educational issues.
Okay. Monthly update on FOIA requests.
We have 23 FOIA requests this month that have been processed or in the process of being processed.
Next item is consent agenda. Is there any request to pull anything off between 6A and 6F? Hearing none, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I'm sorry, I'm a little late on this. This is a minor typo. I just did the
Sure.
video, you want me to go first?
Just tell us what it is.
And on this December public hearing, here I'm just trying to get the casino fully apprised. But I really think it's a praise, not a prize.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I listened to it a couple of times, I wasn't.
The praise.
Yeah, I would like to get it approved. Yeah, yeah.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
On the December 3rd, there was a vote for support staff appointments. Item E, and it shows me as abstaining. I don't know if you have it. I can take a look. Okay, that's fine. Okay.
You should abstain probably on the minutes.
I did abstain on a couple, two things, I don't think that was wrong,
Okay.
but it was in between.
I actually referenced your abstention at the beginning of that item, if I recall.
Yeah, for 6A,
Yeah.
that would have been on, and also I know I abstained on the minutes that I wouldn't have.
Been
Yeah, it says it in the verbiage, and I would have thought the proper way to do that in the future would be to separate out items that a member is going to be abstaining on rather than just reflect in the minutes that she voted for it but abstained on part of it. That seems a little confusing to me.
You can do it either way as long as we properly note it.
Yeah.
I think it said 6A is what I was abstaining on, but this is a different, different item, so I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, so with those changes noted, is there anything else? Motion on the consent agenda? So moved. Peller, second, clerk. Questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, call the roll.
McGrath. Aye. Owen. Aye. Burke.
Aye.
Heller. Lays.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. 7, approval of bids and awarding contracts. 7A, Waste Management, Inc., monthly total cost of $41.32. Is there a motion, please? McGrath, second. Heller, questions or comments on the motion?
Some issues on one of these.
The second one she did.
We're doing just the first page.
That's the first one.
Okay.
Questions or comments on waste management? Hearing none, call the roll.
Lees.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Heller. Owen. Aye. McGrath. Aye. Burke.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. 7B, NTS staffing occupational therapy, $76.50 per hour. Motion, please. Moved. Burke, second.
Second, for
Miller.
discussion.
Okay, questions or comments on the motion?
We did have some revisions to this, and you've indicated that this is probably not a
This is not a long-term contract. This is
Okay,
just
the only
this
thing
year.
and it probably will not be a problem, is I think it's very restrictive that, we have them for 5 months and then we've got a 1-year holdout.
Yes.
It seems a little overly restrictive. I think less restrictive than they had originally proposed.
Yes.
And the buyout is not too outrageous, but, I'm not excited about it for the next 5 months.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Lees.
Aye.
Heller. Burke. McGrath. Aye. Miller.
Aye.
Owen. Aye. Sullivan.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Number 8, new club proposals. We'll take 8A and B unless there's an objection. Together, is there a motion, please? Heller, second. Miller. Questions or comments? On either 8A or B. Hearing none, call the roll.
Heller. Miller.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
McGrath.
Aye.
Owen. Aye. Burke.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Next item 9, calendar items. Okay, we've got January 21st, no school, February 4th, 6 p.m. It's got 6 p.m. education committee meeting.
Is that?
I think we need to make it a little earlier. Yeah. Okay.
Let's say 5:30?
5:30.
And you have a 7 p.m. regular board meeting on February 4th. Any other calendar items?
I'd like to schedule a policy meeting. Margaret, you're something the hardest, but give it time that you would like to meet. Here's my agenda, so you can understand. I thought we could, if you wanted to, discuss the form of Constitution for 12, that's been an issue been involved in. Secondly, there are some things, Greg, I've talked about, some miscellaneous policies that I'd like to talk about. The third one, which I'm going to suggest later, Sean, is I was thinking it might be helpful to have a sort of a general loose policy on when to disclose closed session minutes, something like student discipline, it could be, 21 years old plus 2 years, or, whatever. So the whole concept is not to discuss it now, but I'm going to ask when we get to that you might consider referring that to the finance committee. But we haven't
To the policy committee.
I'm sorry, to the finance committee.
And as long as we defer to state law, I'm fine with us coming up with the same guidelines.
And like I said, we haven't had a meeting in this year, even before you joined us, Carla, so do you have times that would work?
I'm just looking at my calendar, and Wednesday, late afternoon, early evening works very well for me.
Okay.
It's like this week.
This week isn't good for me anyway.
So, starting
And
next
week's
week,
not good, so starting with,
the 23rd, if I book it in now, I should be anytime after 4, would be fine.
4 o'clock is fine with me. Do you want to do 4, 4:30, whatever makes sense for you?
Let's say 4 o'clock on
Carla, you're,
Wednesdays, you said?
yeah,
Wednesday the
afternoon.
23rd.
That doesn't have to be- we can do that on Monday. It's the Thursday.
Thursday.
So we're looking at Wednesday the 23rd, right?
So we'll call it 4:30?
4:30, 4:30.
That's fine.
Okay. So January 23rd.
I'm going to send you some written comments.
Any other calendar items?
So we said 4:30.
Yes,
4:30 on the
4:30 on the 23rd. Any other calendar items? Okay, are there any other communications to come before the board? Are Sean and Mike going to be leaving, or are you going to stay? Sean is staying. Okay. Mike, you get to leave. Audrey, why don't you hang around out there in the reception area? If your student shows, not, I would be open to a recess, a closed session, so we can do it. You just hate to have the student come back another night if they made it here, okay? And then if you get some message that they're actually not showing, let us know. Okay. Or just knock on the door. You can stop talking for me to knock on the door. Okay. We have issues under student personnel. Review of closed session minutes, B. C, appointment, employment, compensation, performance, discipline, or dismissal of specific employees, C. And D, probable, imminent, or pending litigation. Is there a motion to go into closed session? Motion Burke, second Keller. Questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, please call the roll. E, you got collective negotiating matters?
I have a contract, which is
Is it a negotiating, bargaining?
not bargaining.
Then it's not.
We're covered on D.
Okay.
So we're A through D. And there's a motion, a second, call the roll. Yeah.
Owen. Burke. McGrath. Lees. Miller. Heller. Sullivan.
Aye, we're in closed session at